Cheryl Snow is here. We were separated by an entire coast, but one beating heart for fitness racing.
I was really glad for the late night phone calls. It's been good. It's been good to talk to you all the way across the way and see what was going on in Miami for sure. I was glad you went.
I was glad I went too. And I have a lot to talk about. You and I talked a little bit on the phone, as you said. You were in, I think, a self-driving automobile from Vegas. Your husband just pushes the button and it takes you home. Is that what happens?
Yeah, no, he's my Sherpa and my chauffeur. So I had a very long day. And so he was driving us home late at night, trying to get out of the LA basin when the traffic isn't terrible. So we always go home to Vegas like after 7 p.m. so that we don't have to deal with all those folks. And
Right.
so, yeah, we were out in the middle of the desert when you called.
So you were in, where's the venue? Is it Anaheim?
Anaheim, yeah.
So you took the 710 to the 10 to the 40?
We took the 57 to the 60 to the 15.
15, that's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one. So odd numbers run north-south, even numbers run east-west. And
Yes.
I couldn't think of that freeway because, once upon a time, I was an LA guy and I made that drive to Vegas. Not a ton of times, but a few. And I remember it well. And we actually did it. We did it when we had to drive. Where'd we drive? Oh, we drove from Vegas to Big Bear, which is a little different, but
right.
It's still Vegas. Okay. So we talked a little bit. Our races were timed differently, so that worked out well.
Yes.
We had one in the morning, and then you had one, and we had one late in the day. Well, first of all, did he do judge duties? Was he Judge Snow?
No, he didn't. He had a bunch of work to do and stuff, and I kept saying, "Do you want to go judge?" And he says, "I don't know. I may go over there for an hour or so." And he never did. Never showed up.
All right. Well, I'm not trying to shame him.
I'm embarrassed to even admit it. What's he doing there? He's got to help, right? He was helpful in other ways, but he did not judge. And Lord knows, DEKA needs a lot of judges. Like it's just counting everywhere, right?
Lots of counting.
I did. I felt like the judge situation actually, Dave Claxton showed up, I don't know, mid-morning and was just running around. His flight had gotten canceled. All these terrible things had happened. Yeah. So he'd had a really, really tough way getting there. Shows up after my race mid-morning and was running around. But quite frankly, for the most part, I felt like the judging was better than most DEKAs. I thought it went pretty well.
Okay. Well, I would say HYROX judging is HYROX judging. So I watched a couple of times, and there was this giant dude. God bless him. I mean, HYROX brings out some big fucking dudes, and he had the body of either a professional wrestler and or football player, and I don't know which, maybe neither.
Like a linebacker.
There's no way his butt was getting low. You know what I mean? It just wasn't going to happen. And I watched, and I kind of waited for somebody eventually to say something, and they didn't. And then I watched, good and bad throughout the day. I'm extremely proud that I know for those Elite 15 athletes, we can post any video proudly, and Hillary or any of those cocksuckers can have a look, and they can't say shit because we have professionals doing professional reps. And I think it's lame to pick on people who aren't. Because I'm sometimes one of those persons. But anyway, so I just thought like that's the ideal person who this is really hard for, right? Like he's just that dude.
Well, who's going to tell him he's not squatting to death?
Well, I mean, you could just say, "Hey, man, I can't click this button until you get down lower." But again, was it because the judge feel bad? Was it because they didn't know? I hope this guy isn't going to later brag that he was sixth in his age group, but maybe he will. I don't know. But we almost had a big judging snafu, which we can get to later. But I guess, where do you want to start? Because there is a lot to cover.
There is a lot to cover. So I don't know if you kind of want to get DEKA out of the way, because I think Miami was probably the bigger story. I did feel some FOMO. Like I felt like we had a great time at DEKA. It was a lot of fun. It was a really great weekend. And yet just the gravitational force of Miami, when we weren't racing, we were on our phones watching the doubles, right? Like everybody was paying attention to that. So I don't know if you want to get DEKA out of the way and then finish with Miami or vice versa.
Well, let's just say we'll do DEKA first. Getting out of the way makes it sound like you don't want to do it.
Yes, I think it's worth doing. I think it was a good weekend for a lot of people.
Right. So yours started Friday night.
Yes, I'm really glad I went to the clinic. I didn't know what the clinic was going to be. I had pictured that we were signing up for just kind of a giant group of people wandering around to each station and having Kevin or Grayson or Katie kind of just give us a little speech and then move to the next station. You know,
Well, and that is how they described it. Didn't they say it's only an hour, so we'll give you each 20 minutes or something?
Yeah, it really, that was what I was left with description wise. And it wasn't that at all. I think it was intended to be a small group activity. I don't think they were expecting a lot of people. And those of us that came got individual tips. They would take us to a station. They would give us little blurbs. And, I sent you some video of them just kind of showing us some stuff. But then they'd say, all right, put down your stuff, get over here, show us your lunges, show us your ski, show us your, and then I got something for every single station. I was there. I think I was the only person. I was the only person that was, is that you, Dad?
I can't believe you can hear. This mic is usually pretty good. It doesn't pick it up.
Your mic is not working.
Oh, well, why didn't you say something?
I just did. I just didn't know how to break
That's why you couldn't. That's why you could hear that, because otherwise you couldn't. I forgot to do.
Okay, so this is giving us a chance to fix it because your voice is too nice.
Okay, here we go. How about now?
Oh, look at that. There you are.
Right.
Okay.
It's in. Sorry.
Oh, now I'm jealous. You're going to sound better than me.
Sorry, audience. No. Now we both sound good. That's a thing. Because it's happened before where I didn't know it was on, and they were doing dishes behind me, and then it's like really annoying to the listener. So
all right, now we're good. So, okay, good. I have no one in my background, so we're going to be safe here. But
okay.
Yeah. So, right, the clinic ended up being. I was probably the only, what I would say, seasoned DEKA athlete there.
Older lady.
No, not old. Just I'd done a lot of races.
Well, you said that's the term we use instead of saying old. We say seasoned.
Well, it also means that I've done a lot of races
with some chicken and spices, some herbs and spices. You're seasoned.
There was a woman there. I'm everything bagel. There was a woman there who said to Katie and Grayson, "So can I find you on Instagram? Like, who are you? Like she didn't know a thing, right? It was so adorable. Like there were some very, very new people there, people who had never done DEKA Fit or whatever.
So apparently that's who the marketing attracted. It wasn't what we thought it might be. Right. So something for them to kind of look at. If they didn't even know who Katie and Grayson were, how did they find out about it? Yancey's email? Was there an email?
Yeah, there were emails that were sent out. Okay. And so I show up and they're like, "Oh, you're here, right?
You know everything."
Yancey is like, "Oh, you're here." And so Kevin says to me, he says, "Well, what do you want to get out of this?" And I said, "Look, right now, I'll be honest with you. I'm pretty burned out on DEKA. Like after World Champs, I didn't want to pick up another RAM to save my life. Like it just turned my stomach to think about doing box step overs, right? So I'm just here for a little inspiration, just want to sort of be part of the community, that kind of thing." This clinic got me excited about DEKA again. What I realized is that I feel like for a lot of us in hybrid racing, it's all about problem solving. And I didn't know that there were still problems for me to solve. And there were. I had a problem to solve in every station, and I worked on it in my race. And I came away really excited and inspired. And they need to market this differently. This could be for every single person who just wants to get better. How do you not get an advantage by being with the best DEKA athletes? You're going to get good coaching. I went to RMR training camp, and this felt like that.
So I guess they shouldn't be surprised that you're there because they didn't market it as please come new people. It was, hey, learn some tips. I would expect everybody, let's just in this case, their audience is kind of everybody that isn't already on their level, right? Like if you're Elite 15 or better, you're not going to go unless you were going to go to be a teacher. But age group athletes, even if they're podiuming,
If you've got Grace in there, it's like, yeah, and Bubbles, like, who's better at one station than anybody in the world. It's like, okay, well, and who's won a bunch of titles. It's like, so I'm surprised they said that, but that goes to show that their mindset was off, which is, I think, maybe why their marketing was off. Because again, I did think it was for anybody, and it clearly wasn't. And for you to say you learned as much there, because you told me that on the phone, as an RMR type camp, which is really focused, 3 days, really good people, qualified people. But you also, Cheryl, here's the most important piece that you picked up, which is universal lesson of flipping it around. I'm not getting anything out of this, right? And that can go for your job or your marriage or any relationship you're in. And when you turn that around and just, okay, let me open myself to the possibility there might be something for me to learn here or to gain here, it changes everything. It's like the basic question they ask when they do those kinds of like relationship therapy, whether it's work or your boss. It's like, okay, tell me something you love about this person, because you've forgotten it. All you could focus on is, oh my God, this person is so horrible and they don't listen and they're in that, all those things. Okay, tell me something you love. And you go, oh, you know what I love? He's super creative. You know what I love? He's or like just flipping the thing that you don't like, well, he is really committed to X or whatever it is. So you having the wherewithal to say, I'd like to get something out of this. It's the same thing if you're in the middle of an ultra and want to quit. It's all you hear is, this is stupid, I have nothing to prove, right? Versus, okay, let me talk to somebody. Let me see what is there left for me. What's the possibilities for me? So anyway, good on you for doing that. I'm glad you got re-inspired. You're probably echoing a lot of folks who've done their, 5th or 6th fit and 20th strong and mile. So I think that's great. I hope someone listening to this grabs that.
I do too.
And again, by the way, and it's still okay if you want to put one down and focus on the other, HYROX and or DEKA. It's totally fine.
Yeah, I just think there are benefits to both, is what I'm realizing. I came away from this weekend realizing I'm not dropping DEKA. There's a darn good reason to stay in it, and it's going to help me develop as an athlete, and I'm really excited about that. And I just look, Kevin Gregory teaches that clinic, and then gets on a plane and flies to Miami. Dude. And races a decent race, like a really good race. He was within his PR when he was done. So, and takes the time afterward to text me and ask me how my race went, because these people are just really good people.
Yeah, he's a real one, and his wife raced, and plus some other underdog people. They're always good. Love seeing the inner people. Love seeing AJ. Love seeing all those guys. There's a woman sitting next to me, just kind of stretching out. She had cool hair. And I was like, hey, what's up? I was just on my phone. You know me, I'm a chatty Cathy. And as she started talking, I see her underdog, and I'm like, oh, and she's like, yeah, I'm so-and-so. We've talked on Instagram, and she's lost like 300 pounds, something crazy, right? Something crazy, like one of those, like, you wouldn't recognize this person. Mm-hmm. So what else about DEKA? Do you want to talk about the elite race? You want to just talk about overall experience?
Well, I do have some thoughts about the experience, especially having done HYROX so much lately. I signed up for the 7:30 to 8 a.m. start wave. That was bonkers. When's the last time I've raced that early? Like HYROX, I'm racing 4 o'clock.
Vegasona, maybe? Would you race Spartan Vegasona?
It's been so long. It's been so long, right? Like, I've been racing HYROX enough now that I am used to early afternoon start times.
Yeah, it's nice.
That 7:30 was rough. Like, I don't know what I was thinking. The reason why I signed up for 7:30 to 8 o'clock is because, especially with this event being sold out, I thought, this is going to be a disaster. Spartan's not going to be able to handle it. We're going to have to wait for 45 minutes in that start gate for them to release waves, because in the past I have had issues with that with DEKA, right? Like, sometimes it just doesn't, it's not HYROX. It doesn't run as smoothly, right? They're not, the trains don't run on time necessarily. And I got there at 7:30 and there were already plenty of people, but they have taken the stadium approach, where they've got those little kind of Disney type turnstiles where they put you through, and then they got little stickers, and they put 6 stickers right at the start line, and 6 people stand on the sticker, it's on each sticker, and they release 6 people every 2 minutes. And that's what they do now.
So this is their way of avoiding the whoever goes across first doesn't win thing, that whole thing? Because that still doesn't change it. You could still get past or pass somebody, right?
Yeah, but it wasn't as bad. And because they're releasing.
But I'm just thinking out loud though. I'm saying, so are they doing that because of what happened at Worlds, where those guys were like, oh, if we knew you were in the same wave, we would have beat you, or whatever? Is that why they lowered it from 6 to 12? Like, does the elites go off that way too? I guess is what I'm asking.
No, the elites aren't doing this. This is age. They don't even have open. They have age. They just have age group now, right? Everybody's age group or your elite. And so all of us are just getting released every 6 people. They're just doing that every 2 minutes for what, a good 4 or 5 hours before the elites race.
Is there a speech?
Because there was a little speech. There's always a little speech. You know, we have to say fit, DEKA, fit, go, right?
But that's what I'm saying. So they do that 100 times?
Yeah. It was constant.
By
right?
the way, we don't. By the way, we don't have to do that. We don't have to do that anymore. We just don't.
I don't mind the DEKA fit. I actually still mind that they give us headbands. I have no idea why we need headbands. Like, just don't give us headbands. Nobody's wearing them.
I'm just saying, like, that's a layover from Spartan and OCR, and it's just meaningless. You know what I mean?
I know.
Savage does it too. I say Savage, you say race, and if it's another race, it's like they say whatever the thing is, and it's just like, Anyway, I don't think we need to do it.
Here's the problem with the way they were doing it for me personally. Because it's age group and open, all the people in the paddock are like talking about their goals. And I'm looking around and I'm thinking, nobody's got my goal. Like they're all happy to be there. And I'm really happy for them. But when I line up I'm on one of the 6 dots and I look down this way and that way to see who's racing with me, I got nobody to race.
Right.
Like they're there for different reasons, right? And so I was just out there floating. Like I just didn't have, at least if it's age group, people are trying, right? They're there for different goals.
There's still a way to push those people to the end, isn't there? If you wanted to.
Look, when there's only 6 of you and you're the first one out of the gate, and there was one guy that followed me probably to the first 2 stations. He was kind of right behind me. And then he was walking.
I'm just saying in Spartan, there's elite age group and open, right? And then for DEKA, it was confusing people because it's a different crowd and it's like people understand, I guess, easier at Spartan, those delineations. They were saying, well, but I'm saying you could have a checkbox, right? Is this your first race or is this, I don't know, do you plan on racing competitively? I don't know. There's just a way, I think, to be like, okay, take all the people who said they aren't and put them together, because then they don't feel as intimidated either. Then they get to race with people. I mean, there's probably a way to do it. I don't know.
There is.
Dave, if you're listening to this, let me know.
It just, it became it was definitely a drawback for me. It made it, I ran slower than I wanted. I had a hard time finding people to latch onto. I had a hard time racing people. And so for my race personally, I just coasted. Like I was just out there passing people who were walking, jogging, thinking that I was being amazing, and you're not, right? So
I don't know. Doesn't it feel good to pass people at a 5K, even if they're less fit than you? Doesn't it feel fun to pass people?
It feels really good until you cross the finish line and see your finish time and realize that you sucked out there. Like,
okay, well then I'm gonna say that's on you, Cheryl Snow. I like that you want to be pushed, but yes. I mean, I think that's definitely something where, we've had that come up before, right? When people finish in the second wave and they're like, oh man, if I had known, I might have pushed harder or whatever. But it's one of those things. It's like good. I think it's a good lesson for you. Like, all right, I got to push no matter what, if that's your goal.
Here's the lesson for me is I've decided if DEKA is going to do it like this, I'm not racing an age group anymore.
Just go elite.
I am.
All right. Good job.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to get any better racing like this. And so I'm going to start losing in elite, and that's fine.
Listen, how many world titles do you need? Exactly. Gonna be the 17 medal open record holder on your Instagram. Fucking somebody shared not European record for the 2 English guys. I'm like, wouldn't it at least be the UK record?
I think so.
And anyway.
Yeah. So I think age group open wise, I think it was actually well run. There were not backups. The release.
Somebody said there was. Somebody in HYROX, unsubstantiated rumor. This is why I asked you: was there backup somewhere? And if so, what did they do?
So I have heard, so what I heard was there were some backups. Every once in a while when I was judging the tanks, and waves would come through and we would barely make it, right? There was never anybody waiting for equipment, but sometimes we were sending the men over the women or the women over the men, so that there would be enough equipment. But I do know of somebody who had to wait for an assault bike, which you can imagine there would be a backup there because it takes longer for people. And we asked them, what did they do about your time? There was no little box for them to stand in, and nobody was keeping track of that. And so I don't think they had any protocols for that.
Okay.
The problem with DEKA is they just don't have enough equipment. It is a small footprint, and maybe 20?
So men did women's weights and women did men's weights?
No, we would just, with the tanks, you just switch the settings.
Okay.
But there's the women's side and the men's side, right? So if all the guys were all taken up, we'd send a guy over there, switch the tank, and be able to do that. But assault bikes, like, it takes people a long time on those things, and so it backs up. I don't think they were prepared for that, and there was some of that going on. But again, because it's age group and open, like, who knows if that really affected anybody? It's hard to know.
Well, I can tell you it's not okay.
No, it's not. But the very footprint that DEKA has means there's not a lot of equipment, which means that, capacity crowd, they had a capacity crowd, which was
if they sold, you want to know finishers? Because I can tell you.
Yeah, because I'm standing at the start line with my friend Rob, right? He's on the other dot with me. We're getting ready to go. And he's doing the math, and he's like, look, if they're releasing 6 people every 2 minutes, that can only be like 1,800 people in a day.
I'm going to tell you exactly how many people raced.
Okay.
Let's go. 2024.
This is 2025.
This is 2025.
Yeah, because we're old and we don't remember.
Anaheim, are you ready? 1264 finishers. 714 individual, 550 teams. And again, that means it's a little less because a lot of folks that run individual run the doubles, but 1264. So if they were to double that, right?
Right.
Then they would not be able to do the race.
Right. They couldn't have done any more than they did.
Hang on one second. We will edit around this.
Okay. All right. Matt has just left.
Don't talk during this so that I can edit around it. Otherwise, I'll forget. You see what I'm saying? So just don't talk for a minute.
Okay.
Hello? Hey. Sorry, no. Yes. Okay, sounds good. Just text if you need an update. Okay, bye.
Cheryl.
Yeah, I forgot we weren't live, so we didn't have to fill in time. That's great.
Our AC went out last night, and so the guy's in the way. So having all kinds of electrical issues today. So
living the dream.
So if they sold out 2 days, people. They could just do another day. Now let's say it gets even busier, which would be a good problem to have. They would have to start getting the HYROX type venues, or they can't do this event. That's the point, right? Because conversely, Anaheim, you probably heard the word 7,000 thrown around all weekend. Finishers is actually 5,500, including spectators, I'm sure, because people do actually bring spectators to that event. I'm sure it was probably closer to 7, right? So if you're trying to get somewhere close to that, right? If you want to sell that many tickets, maybe they don't.
Maybe you do, but literally the footprint of your race is not going to be able to accommodate it.
Okay, so here's the part it took me a minute to get. When you were telling me this in the car, and it was late in the day for me, and I couldn't quite grasp it. Because I was just like, oh, more sleds, more ergs. It's like, well, the loop is the loop.
Yep.
So they would have to change the race. You could make it could you make it a 1 loop race?
You could maybe, if you've got a big enough venue, you could make it a 500-meter loop, and then you would have room for more equipment.
That's what I'm saying. So that would be one way to change it, and someone would have to do the math, the schematics, and see if that would work.
Yes, because one of the real benefits of DEKA is that the courses don't change, right? You really can compare your time.
Right, but if that becomes a thing, if that becomes a quality problem for DEKA, we're selling too many tickets. We had to do this. We just have the same thing with HYROX. They're not all the same. What about, could you do, let's say they really had to get it big, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, now you're just making rock zones again. I was going to say go in one side and out the other, whatever it is. Now you're back. Now it's a whole other thing. But again, it would be great. I mean, I don't know if they'll ever get that big. It could.
The only thing I thought they could do that would be simple is take the festival area out of the center of the venue.
Completely, yes.
Right. And then you could have people watching from the outside, and you could fill in the festival area with more equipment.
Well, I'm guessing these are conversations Yancey's probably having. Like when he's done being thrilled how packed it was, like, okay, now what are we going to do if we sold that many tickets? And again, we know it's only this much of the hybrid fitness population because we know how these HYROX events do. They're probably looking at it because again, it's very much the, kind of, how do we make this the most people? We put the sponsors in the middle, it's just that would make sense when you're doing it the way you've done it for years, but good for them.
Yeah, no, the Anaheim venue would have accommodated all sorts of stuff. It was nice and big, and they occupied just a pretty small area in that venue, and so they really would have. But look, if they're gonna want bigger venues, if they're not gonna need to go to rural Pennsylvania or Indiana or Ocala, Florida, like if they need to generate more revenue, they're going to need to change the footprint of the race.
Yeah. So Malaga, they had 1419 on their first fit day of the year, which was a week ago, 10 days ago. Their mile only had 164 on the second day. Do they only do that many people on the second day? That doesn't make sense. Feels like it wouldn't even be worth opening.
Right.
Maybe this part's wrong, but either way, they did 1419 in one day. And I think they did those kind of numbers previously. Let me look at Malaga. Yeah, they did. Let's see. Madrid. These are all major cities, though. These aren't Ocalas, right?
Yeah.
Madrid was 1661. Zaragoza was small, 786. Valencia and Malaga both over 1,000. That was last year, just over 1,000. So I could do some math later, look up the stadiums they did it in and see what the equivalent is. Are they high school stadium gyms? Are they the equivalent of a junior college gym? Like, I don't know what the stats are, but yeah, I think again, the Spartan mindset of where's a city that we can kind of call Philly, but it's not. You mean that needs to change? Yeah. And listen, maybe it will. Maybe Joe sees these numbers and is like, okay, because we always say that they're never going to get more money from Spartan. Maybe Joe would be like, oh, okay, this concept is working. Now we're ready to bump it up. Maybe turn off your notifications, Cheryl. You keep dinging on me.
I didn't know you could hear that.
Of course I can.
Oh man. All right. I don't know these things. There.
So that's great.
Yes. Look, they're clearly bumping up against the ceiling. It'll be great to see that go. I thought that having the elites in the afternoon, I think it was inconvenient for them, but it made for a really great viewing experience. I think it worked a lot better. It was a lot of fun. And I don't know what Lauren Weeks can do better than what she's already doing. I mean, she was just, those girls, all three of them put on a show. 4 of them, 5 of them. It was a show. The women were a show. Grayson Kilgore coasted and still just killed it.
Sub 30, right?
He is ready to go in Barcelona. I'm really, really rooting for him.
Right.
So yeah, the elite race was excellent, and it was really, really good to see them. And one of the girls, she said that she was just there for fun, called it a destination workout, and still podiumed. So yeah.
But wait a minute, this was in Anaheim, but it wasn't the convention center.
Yeah, it is where HYROX was.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's just the footprint then. It really is just the footprint.
Yes.
Okay. I didn't even realize that. If it
literally was enormous. We were in Hall C. It was absolutely enormous. There was room to warm up. There was room everywhere. It was huge.
On Catella Avenue, if I recall.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, well, then they just need to open the footprint then. So yeah, that's easier than I thought. I thought they weren't renting big enough buildings, but yeah, it's clearly the issue. Yeah, I remember when HYROX started, we wondered why they weren't racing the elites in the morning. And now it is very obvious that it's definitely the way to do it, is to push it in the middle of the day. And then, God, the men race so late in Anaheim. I definitely needed a nap in the middle of the day. We can get to that in a minute, though.
Yeah. I don't have much more to say. I will say, given that it is the same place where HYROX was, in December, and I was there in December to race the HYROX, and you go to a HYROX and there are just these stallions, just running around, warming up. Like, you see them everywhere, all over town. And this, you could hardly even tell there was a fitness event going on, because the people were normal. Like, they were just normal people wearing athleisure showing up to this. I really have to say, I just am really rooting for DEKA, because it is filling a niche that needs to be filled. It was really great to see people of all shapes and sizes just working their tails off there, and being really, really proud of themselves and having a really good time. I've been doing this for years now, and I've got a lot of friends, and I'm always happy to see them. And so it was time well spent. It really was. I think I mentioned to you on the phone, we need to take an insurance policy out on Yancey, because he's the one driving this train. Like, I think it would just fall apart if it didn't happen. And what would we do without it right now? Until we can get some more fitness races in here, this is the one that it scares them enough, and they're trying it, and they're accomplishing it. And I'm just really, really proud to see that. So,
well, I would love to know who they're reaching. We know it's some of the Spartan audience, right? We know it's some of the, like, just off the couchers, as we're saying, like, you could really hop into a sprint with no training and finish or whatever. But I wonder who else they're reaching, because I do think that's, again, what we were saying last week, HYROX is not for everybody, at least not early on. And you do see the shapes and sizes in the relay. You will definitely see people that don't look like the morning waves, right? So that's good. And I wasn't sure that was enough to get people, because it's still so intimidating. But, like, I met a woman when Stacy and I were doing our training. We met a woman who's older than us, but looked kind of like your figure, like pretty wiry and older than us. And she's like, "Oh, I'm scared. I'm just doing a relay this time." And it's like, oh, she could probably do a doubles. But so that marketing is working better than I thought for HYROX, in terms of, like, that's the entry point for a new person. And then maybe they do it and go, "Oh shit, I think I can go for it." But yes, I think you're right. I think, again, we struggle to say easier, right? Because, again, it's like, is a sprint easier than a beast? Like, how fast you want to go? Is a 5K easier than a marathon? How fast you want to go? So all that. But I think you and I are saying the same thing, that if that piece is working, getting people in their first fitness race, or they don't look like, I was going to say you or me, but let's just say they don't look like Meg, somebody really intimidating to them, right? Or you're intimidating to some people, Cheryl. Anyway, I think that's good. And I think this sounds like I'm going to say a high watermark for DEKA. I mean, it feels like a regular season event, well attended, where there wasn't some crazy, like, video footage of burpees coming back later. Like, everything, a lot of things seem to click.
It really did. We left at 7 p.m. and it was still going strong. And I've never seen that in a DEKA.
All right, that's going in the thumbnail, the title. It's going to be best DEKA ever, ?
Yeah. No, I just think they're really hitting their stride, and I'm really happy for them. And the clinic, they got to do more of the clinics, and people need to go.
Right. But having said that, they got to not do it the Spartan way, because Spartan does that obstacle specialist thing, and they just get kind of whoever. They're all qualified people, but if you want to get expertise, if you want to get Kate and Kevin and Grace and Level, like, don't. Well, that was the one thing we thought, is like, it might have been too high priced. It shouldn't be 25 and it shouldn't be 100. It should be 50 and get good people. That's my thoughts.
Or let people know it's going to be a small group and you're going to get individual coaching, and go ahead and charge the 125.
Right. Because then it's worth it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But again, if people are spending who knows how much already in the race, that might, I don't know if that audience exists yet. That's all. We'll know. We'll find out soon, but.
Well, and it may not in DEKA. I was thinking HYROX could take this on. Like, they could get a couple of Elite 15 people and pay them a bunch of money to take people around to the stations the night before. I mean, it's pre-registration anyway. Give somebody exclusive access to see the venue and look at the stations and get some tips from the people. And I don't know. I think they'd probably make something there.
Yeah, because it's already set up, and they're maybe doing the last few pieces. Yeah, that's a good thought.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'd go see Alex Ronkovit. He could read me the phone book. I'd be happy.
Do you have a crush on Ronco, Cheryl?
Don't we all have a crush on Ronco?
Should your
Here's what
husband
I know.
worry?
I have it on good authority that a lot of the girls in a lot of the elite women have a crush on Ryan Kent. They think he's the whole package.
I mean, I've been getting messages about that guy for a long time. I mean, people think he's dreamy.
He is dreamy. He is the whole package.
People love Ryan Kent.
Yes.
All right, we ready to move on to HYROX?
I think so.
All right, so rare same day trip for me. I almost never do this. I'm a night before. I don't want to rush. I want to, even if the event's not till later in the day, I don't want to come in on the day of. But I'm like, Miami's a short flight. Now it says it's 2 hours, but it's actually less because, takeoff and landing. It's a quick flight. However, in this case, my flight was delayed, so it worked out well. So quick flight. The women didn't start until
12:40.
12:40, which I thought was 12:20 at first. So I could take a 9 o'clock. I didn't even have to take the 7. I could take the 9, land at 11, give myself a couple hours to get there. Not a rush. So I get there. And yeah, it's buzzing like they always are, right?
Wait a minute. You got there that morning. I thought you said you got a hotel. You didn't get a hotel this weekend?
No. I got a hotel for the night because the men didn't race until.
Oh, okay. So you were going to stay that night. Okay.
Yeah, because the men didn't race until 8:50. So
okay, because I do have a question for you to see if you have kept to your policy of getting the hotel near the venue, but we can talk about that later. We'll talk about that after the men, right?
Well, we should back up. Now we have to back up because because Nick Riker and I were going to be roommates.
Oh.
And one of my rules is pretty much no roommates unless I really, really like you. Short list of people that I've roomed with before that get in there. And I don't think there's any slots left. So Nick is on that list. Rich Ryan's on that list. And my buddy Matt Kemp is on that list. Matt Kemp and I travel a lot together. So that's pretty much it. And most of us now, like Rich is either going to do it himself or travel with his wife or whatever. It's just like those Elite 15 guys, they just can't deal with any. But Nick and I were going to room together, and I forget even who asked who. He might have asked me, and I said sure. And I was like, well, we don't need a hotel close to the venue because they're really expensive, but we can just get one close to the airport, Uber to the event, right? Uber when the event's over, and then we have to get up as early to go to the airport in the morning, which is like the exact opposite of what I want to plan, right? So he ends up getting sick last minute, Nick Riker, and I'm like, I don't pay for hotels in advance, right? I always wait because this kind of thing happens, but I had just missed the window. Like they were just about to charge it, and I called them, they said, don't worry about it. I'm like, all right, well, now I can stay close to the venue. I think it makes more sense. But closer to the venue was like, fucking Sable style. It was like $400 for one night. And I'm like, I cannot justify it because you're on the beach basically. And I'm like, I can't justify it. I just can't do it. So 15 minutes away was, like $250. And I was like, all right, well, let's do that. You know what I mean? And then I factored in the Ubers back and forth for the extra ride, still under, right? I'm like, all right. Because if it was close, I would have been like, well, fuck it, I'll just do it. But with the 2 Uber rides, only another $40-$50, fine. So anyway, I get there. I don't go to the hotel. I go straight to the venue, and it's just awesome. You know what I mean? Like, convention centers are big, and sometimes it would be hard to figure out where to drop off if you were first thing in the morning, but not at 10 o'clock in the morning because everyone's just funneling towards the doors. And it's like, all right, just follow the crowd, drop me off there. Walk in, boom, you're met by, right? Everybody.
Right.
So there it is. And I go to check I'm like, oh, I got the suitcase, but I can just check it at the bag drop. And they're like, you're not a participant. We can't check your bag. I'm like, you sure? And they're like, yep, we can't. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to the help desk. Maybe they can help me. And I was like, hey, can I check a bag? And they're like, sorry, we can't be responsible. They go, just give it to an athlete. I'm like, oh, duh. So I couldn't find anybody in the immediate area. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to walk around with it. And as I was about to pull into the race for the first time, I see Amber and
Chelsea
Chelsea warming up. It's like, perfect. was like, Amber, have you ever used bag check? She's like, I'm just putting my stuff upstairs, which a lot of people did.
Yeah.
And I was like, cool, let's go check my bag. So anyway, did that. And then I heard somebody say something like, oh, it's really crazy going in. And like, it wasn't that bad. Like, it was easier than even Vegas. It was like, they've got the two valve system pretty well dialed in now. And you waited a little bit, not long at all. And you got in. Interestingly enough, about an hour later, Rich and I were talking, maybe it was less than an hour later. So somewhere in the 11 noon hour, you got to get out, same premise, right? The 2-flap system. The line going out went all the way back to like where the sponsors almost were. So for some reason, everyone leaving at the same time was a problem. Wow. Like I can't, it's usually the other way around coming in, because like some people are racing at 9, some people are racing at 10, but they all show up early. But in this case, it was all going out at the same time. So that was the only line I saw all weekend. I didn't see horrendous lines at bag check. I never saw long lines going in. By the mid-afternoon, it was totally chill. Not totally chill, but it was fine. And by the men's race, you didn't have to wait at all, because most people are gone. It's 8:50 at night. Of course, a lot of us are watching the elites, all of us in the biz, right? All of us, but people supporting their friends, whatever, because other people were running pro doubles as well, even if they weren't elite. But yeah, so I got to say, they have figured out with the building and the sizes and all that. I mean, it was less crowded there than Glasgow on Wednesday, just because the venue is so tiny. It really is about the venue and why we're mostly always going to be okay. Because Glasgow, I had to walk by like this trying to go to the bathroom. And that was a Wednesday. Tiny. That was Wednesday for the Elite 15. So, because everything's just so tiny. But we're just in luck that we have these massive venues. So, and I had not been to this one before. Like, I think they were there. They were on the beach one year. They were at a different convention center one year. But, Miami is like a fitness city. So you saw like 30 people in the same gym shirt, like those kinds of things, right? Which I don't think you necessarily see everywhere. You see smaller groups, but I feel like New York, Miami, Vegas, like big, like kind of like gym culture, youngish, can skew younger cities, right?
Right. So they had never been at this venue before.
No, I'm saying I think maybe they had. Somebody can correct me, but I'm saying it worked out fine.
Right. I do think that they just seem to be figuring out crowd control, and so I'm just wondering if New York is going to be like. I know there were a lot of complaints in New York. I wonder if maybe now they've figured it out, and New York's going to be great.
Well, were you in New York?
No, but I just heard all about it.
Here's the reason why it will be a problem unless they do something else. You're on the street, you cross the street, you're in the venue, and then not much room between in the venue and the inn. So all of it backs all the way up, right? So from the time you get out the Uber to getting to even just the gate, it's not like a big convention center where you're anywhere on the street and you can walk a mile to it. It's like, it's all right there. So I'm sure they're looking at it because they don't want to have people fucking blocking traffic. And I don't know what that road is that goes by the thing, but because it's a pretty big area, people riding and biking past there all the time anyway. It's a very, I don't know what the equivalent is in, your city, but it's like, it would be like if they had the HYROX like on the belt line somewhere here, like it already has all this foot and bike traffic, plus this cool area. So unless I feel like there will be a really long line getting in because they'd have to turn it sideways to go like down. So it's not people in the street. And yeah, I'm guessing a madhouse. I'm guessing it's going to be really bad.
That's too bad. I won't go to New York if it's going to be like that.
Well, we don't know though. Don't go. Not go on account of me. It's already sold out anyway, Cheryl. Speaking of which, Toronto about to go on sale. Ding, ding, ding.
Oh, 3 days.
So I am going to Croatia the next week. So if I can sign up for pro doubles with my partner on the day one, that's what I'm going to go. Because then I can go and come right back.
You're going to do pro doubles with somebody?
Sorry, not pro doubles. Regular doubles with my buddy. Word pro is on my brain. Dean, who I saw there, Dean Novick, my partner. Who I told him we were definitely going to beat our time. I mean, basically, the learning curve goes straight up for a while, right? So I'm in good shape.
Enjoy the PRs while they happen.
Exactly. So what else about the event? Oh, the battery's
okay. So the event sounds like it was really well run. They've really figured things out. And I was going to ask, like, so it was a good venue, and I know that the infamous Miami Beach HYROX was kind of a nightmare. You're fumbling with stuff. I will wait. I'll let you edit this out. Can't hear you.
Check, 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 check.
Okay, I can hear you now.
Jack, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes. That really is a nice microphone.
Thank you very much. So I had to move over, and if the plug covers any part of the microphone, the power plug, you get this very low static hum that will drive me crazy. So I had to move everything around. Okay. So yeah, venue was solid. Couple of little there might have been bigger food vendors, but the only two I saw were like the little, hey, it's coffee, or a little tiny sandwich. I did eat a Cubano sandwich. It was amazing. But I think there were enough close places, like people would leave to go eat because it was just nice. I did not. I just stayed there, and then I did go back to the room for a quick nap because I knew the men's race was going to run late, and there was no way I would not be in good shape. And I went back to my room and I typed in the venue, and then I typed in, is there a Starbucks on the way? And there was. So I ordered my coffee. It was ready. It was ready. Food and coffee was ready. Snagged it. I felt like a superstar. Boom, boom, boom.
Nice work. Very nice. Tell me about the women's race.
So the women's race, it was really good. It was a great layout for watching the venue. So ski was right here. Turn around, there's the push. Walk right around the push, there's the pull. Little ways over for the BBJ. Like, they really have it. The only hard one for me to get to was Woobles, because I wanted to make sure I was on the recovery zone. What do we call that fucking thing? I always forget the name of it. Where do you go when you're done racing and you sit down?
Isn't that a recovery zone? I thought it was recovery zone.
They might call it something else, but I wanted to be on that side so I could try to wave people over for interviews, and that was like a long way around. But other than that, we got really good stuff. I hired a shooter for the weekend. We got a lot of good stuff. I'll be putting that up shortly. Did a lot of fun interviews, but putting those up shortly, which is why I was so mad my computer wasn't working this morning, because I really want to get to work on that. But I was able to interview all the men's teams, the women's teams. There was a snafu. My guy was late getting back, so we only got Tara and Brownie Bunch. Everyone else had to bolt. Actually, Chris was already on the beach. They're like, where's Chris? Like, she's on the beach. And then Jess and Maria were kind enough to wait a really long time, and I finally had to let them go because she had to get on a flight. So anyway, lots of good interviews to come and lots of like fun race footage. Because if someone has a nice camera, even from the spectator side, you can shoot a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
But no, it was exciting. It was really exciting. I'd never seen people like that close for so long. Like they were literally, if you saw in the video, just pushing exactly together, and watching elite 15 level athletes go that fast where they just stop and the next person takes over was super, super impressive. What else do you want to know about the women's race?
So Meg got sick.
Yes.
So, and then Camilla just ran without a chip. Is that right? So you didn't see any of the open. I know. And then,
I thought Camilla was gonna do pro or open, but either way, I didn't know she was gonna go without a chip. I just thought she was just gonna.
I had seen somewhere where she was without a chip and stuff. So it just felt like here, Nick Reicher's sick. Like it just felt like there was kind of a lot of disappointing, like people who were ready to go who weren't able to go.
Well, first of all, I want to say, I'm going to pull this up and see what else I'm forgetting. Hybrid doubles pro win. I'm just going to say that this is a sport where people drop all the time because there's usually another one around the corner, right? If it's a major, you're like, I can do the next one or whatever. And people aren't willing to, and I understand that because like that never happened in OCR. People just fucking race, you know what I mean? But it's because it kind of like, unless it was the world championship, almost the stakes were almost never as high, right? Where here they really are. And so it just happens. So the guys who were fourth place at this race were fourth place in the last race, Kieran and Tony. And I said, there's not a chance all 15 men's teams make it to the start line. So if the way they roll it down is the fourth, you guys are in. I think they're gonna qualify in London anyway. But if they don't, this is just a race where that happens. I also think everybody I've spoken to in the last 90 days said, oh man, I just got over something, or I just came down with something. It doesn't matter whether they live in Vegas or Atlanta or New York or Toronto or Cairo. So whatever strain of whatever that's gone around the world, I just think everybody's got it. And thankfully it's not a COVID level, but I don't know anyone I've talked to that didn't get really, really sick in the last 3 months. It feels, maybe I'm reading into it. Maybe it's like all you see is blue cars thing. But I swear to God, everyone I talk to, they're like, oh man, I'm really sick, or I just got over it. And it's one thing when you're all at the same race. This is people all over the world. I don't know. What has your experience been?
Well, first of all, my experience is I have not gotten sick, knock on wood. So let's hope I get through all of this. I've been actually very, very careful. But I also think that we have chosen a sport where we end up in a closed venue, close together, smearing all over each other, 10,000 of us. Yeah, we're going to get sick a lot. Like we have to be really careful. And I don't touch a lot of people. I don't touch a lot of stuff when I'm there. I actually wash my hands a lot. I'm actually really, really careful because, especially at my age, like, it's about consistency, right? And you end up getting sick all the time, and you're not going to be able to.
I'm saying that like everybody left Vegas and got sick.
Yes.
Hey, the HVAC guy's here.
Most people, yeah.
So, but I'm saying this is just people I'm talking to randomly in different parts of the world. Like,
yeah, no, I think
something.
It's been a tough year for sure. It's been a tough year. So, and that's got to be really disappointing. I will say, you're right. People pull out of races all the time. Let's just shout out to Camilla Massa, who breaks a finger and still finishes a major, and Lauren Griffith, who blacks out and still finishes, right? She and Lauren Weeks she was super sick doing her qualifier for Elite 15 doubles and still finished. So there are a couple of people with grit in our sport.
No, I think so too. I wasn't saying they drop out in a negative way. I was just saying that it happens pretty frequently. Again, in OCR, we just kind of never saw it, but here we have a lot of last minute drops. Or drops mid race, right?
Yes.
So, and that
nobody bats an eye about people dropping out for sure, but I am very impressed.
You're more impressed, right? And we had a drop in the women's race. We had a Kelsey, I guess, almost passed out or did pass out, and so
yeah, I was going to ask about that.
Yeah, so we had thought it was because they got a sled pull penalty, and it was a legit penalty. They were warned. She stepped on it again. They were given the penalty because we didn't know why they were doing it again. Like,
did they step out of the box?
Stepped on the line, or whatever the rule is.
It is.
So, and then later we didn't see them, and we thought, oh well, they realized they're not going to be top three. They just quit, which isn't necessarily a good move because they were still probably in fourth or fifth. But then it turned out Kelsey passed out, which got Fozzie Fit's so mad that she's like, I'm gonna go fucking run an open. I got a ticket, and then she ran it open, and she was very happy.
And she won all of it. Like she beat everybody.
Yeah, she was very happy. But yeah, it was just great to see. And it's funny. Spoiler for my Tara interview, but I said, hey, earlier you told me when I saw you, you were like, yeah, I'm done with individual. I definitely can do doubles. I know I could do better there. Are you really done with HYROX individual? She's like, no, I'm like an abused wife. I'm gonna race in Atlanta next week. I'm like, all right, I'll see you there. So people got the bug, man. They can't stop.
We have a dysfunctional relationship with this sport for sure. It makes me so miserable and so happy.
Hey, do you just want to go around to the back to go look at it? Cool? No. Yeah, it's just starting to feel the heat. Yeah. Okay. All right, I'll go around. Okay. So yeah, what else about the women's race? Or is that it before we move on? Just quickly looking at the results, see if I want to.
I think that's about it. I was actually, look, we know Camilla and Meg are going to do just fine in London. Like we don't have to worry about them. I was kind of glad that some North Americans were able to get the slot, right? By them not racing in Miami.
So Katie and Alex, we thought were fourth and they came in fifth. And I do not know who Megan McNabb and Allie Summers are. And I've been meaning to look them up all weekend.
Yeah.
Do you know who they are? Do you know who they are?
I don't. All
right. Well,
that's what's nice about this doubles thing is we get to find out about other people.
Right. Well, Megan McNabb has done 6 races. Let's pull her up on IG. Okay. I usually reach out to people and be like, hey, who are you? Where'd you come from? Hang on. Sometimes you can't pull people up because they're just that new.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can make noise, honey. It's fine. Okay, here we go. She came right up. I probably follow her already.
Okay.
There she is. Ooh, she's got a great picture of her training partner, it looks like. All right. They look like CrossFitters to me based on the gym pics.
Okay.
All right. All right, Megan. Just followed you. I'll reach out to you later. And then what's your partner's name? Allie Summers. Maybe they're going to go over there. Group Fitness BC Block Nashville. So it's not CrossFit. It's just called, they are yoked. Look at these two. Oh, I have to show you.
I'm seeing Megan, they clearly were in Nice. So they are.
Oh, are you looking at her account right now?
I'm looking at her account and yeah, so clearly seasoned HYROX athletes, but just took advantage of this new format, which is what it's for. It's great.
Yeah. And they're both fucking yoked.
Yeah, but that's just HYROX. Good heavens.
I don't know all their pictures. They look pretty good.
Good for them. I'm so happy for them.
Yeah, good for them. Nick, do you know them? Nick Riker, do you know them? They're from Nashville. All right. So what else do we want to talk about?
Okay. So women's race done. Why did they start late for the men? Because it was supposed to be what, 8:40 and then it wasn't until like 9 o'clock?
No, I feel like they started 8:50. They were supposed to be 8:50 and then it got bumped. Like I think on the website it said 8:40. On the day of it was 8:50. And then it was like, okay, guys, 10-minute delay. I don't know. I think that's, if they're trying to clear the course, that's better, right? If that's why they're doing, if that's why, because there were a couple guys doing lunges. When we were over the lunges and we were waiting for them, there were a couple guys coming through.
So was it men's pro that was on deck?
Well, Nikki is the guy who I hired to shoot with me. He said, why wouldn't you send doubles first? Because they're faster than the individuals. And I said, I just think it has to do with the setup and the judges and all that. But that does kind of make sense. Like, how do they usually do it?
I think it's typical to do that. But I do remember, like, usually they'll have like the women's doubles out there and then send out the men pro, which is, you know.
All right. Well, they didn't do that, obviously, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know.
But I'm saying, why wouldn't you send? Because well, now that I think about it, it's probably because the doubles are slower normally. There are some slow guys that sign up for doubles, right? They want to do doubles, but they're not fast.
That is true. I will also say that there are so many athletes who do their single race and then turn right around and do doubles. And you would want to get your singles race done before your doubles. I think there is a nice incentive to keep it singles first, then doubles.
Well, let's look at Atlanta, which again, this is the preliminary. You never know because it's early.
Yeah, but in general, they know by now.
All right, so let's go to Atlanta HYROX. The Sweat House Atlanta HYROX.
And that's next week, isn't it?
It's this weekend.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you about how you're feeling after we get done talking about
doubles. Women Pro is 12:20, followed by Women's Pro.
Okay.
Men's Pro again is first, 18:50 to 19:20, then doubles men pro. Yeah, it seems like double should be first.
Yeah. Well, because especially if you're a man running single pro, you're not going to then turn around and run doubles pro. There's not time. So it must be just having to do with weight plates and how they've got things set up.
Doubles mixed for Sunday is 13:10. That's fucking awesome for me if that holds up.
It'll hold up.
Fucking 1:10 in the afternoon.
Perfect.
I fucking love it.
Yeah.
Because that way you can get there like not just early, but really early and still have plenty of time to get acclimated, get parked, warm up. Actually, we should just Uber probably. Yeah. Yeah, we're feeling good. I mean, we haven't trained together since last weekend, but we feel fine.
Well, at this point, it doesn't matter, right? Like it's close enough. Just go and have a good
I would like to get her to throw some more wall balls in the backyard, to have one more like kind of wall ball session just to give her a little bit more confidence. Yeah. But she's so busy. She picked up like 3 more clients this week. So she's super busy, which is great, right? Good for her, good for the family. So, but yeah.
It's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
She's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
And it's always different when you get in the race anyway. It's just terrible. So practicing wall balls is at this point probably futile. Just enjoy yourselves.
Yeah, just to give her a little bit more confidence. But yeah, once we get there, it'll just take her a second to get in the rhythm. And it just took her a second last time. But at this point, the hay's in the barn, as they say. So there's not much different. But I want to see what else I'm forgetting. I feel like I'm forgetting to talk about stuff from.
Well, look, I just want to know. I just felt like I was sitting there in between. I had raced and I had we just had podiums. And we all just got on our phones and started watching those men. And that just looked like a show. I mean, that looked like a lot of fun watching that.
Yeah. I mean, when I saw Rylan, even during burpee broad jumps, so first of all, something came up that I'd not seen before. Rich jumped diagonally. He basically like burpee broad jump the tangent, which I don't know if that's legal or not. I don't know if it's not in the rules, but I was like, he's jumping diagonally, not straight. And sometimes you do that because there's people in front of you, but there was nobody in front of you. He was just jumping to the farthest point. So, and then when they hit the other side, they just zippily went the next one. And when Rich and Kent got there, they looked a little slower walking over. They weren't dragging because it's a short walk anyway, but it was just a little bit slower. And I thought, is Rylan already out of gas? And then when he was laying down at the rower, I was like, well, he's clearly out of gas. Because that's what I do, right? In between stations, I lay down. He said, no, I just wanted to get my heart rate down as quickly as I could. Kent was like, I didn't even notice. So, so that's what we thought would happen with those two teams. And Rich and Pelayo put down a perfect race. I mean, that's really all you can say. They just put down a perfect race. And I mean, if you saw the picture I shared, like people were like, oh my God, when they heard the 4850, they're like, what just happened?
No, we're getting to the 40s. That's just absolutely incredible.
Nuts.
Yeah, it is nuts. I just feel like Rich is just having such a good year. And honestly, to have like Ryland and Ryan Kent be together given their year, like I'm really, really happy for them that they were able to sort of turn out a performance that they could be proud of too. Cause I mean, they broke the world record too, right? They just,
Oh, and there was a moment. Hang on, we've got to see this. We've got to see this. This is hot Instagram drama. Because there's always got to be haters out there. This guy is a CrossFit coach and a HYROX coach, but he still said, "Now show your deadlift," to my post of those guys finishing really fast. I guess that's a bit of an insult. And someone said 4, and then someone said another insecure CrossFitter. Oh, we're talking about him. And then I'm not even going to fucking read this. It's so stupid. But the one thing is that Rich Rich took the high road. Rich said, my deadlift is 184 kg at 78 kg and can run about a 1535K. Finished 8441 in the open last year. Let me know what else you're curious about. Hope to see you on the course at some point, mate. Good job, Rich. Way to take the high road. But we're all going nuts. And I got an interview with those guys about their year, Rich and Rylan and Ryan.
Oh, Rylan. Okay.
And we started to hear this buzz about like, oh no, they've been given a 3-minute penalty. So not only do they not win, they're out of the podium. And my first thought, very selfishly, was, well, fuck, that just ruins all the content I made. I just did this amazing interview with them, and the whole story is fucked up now because now Rylan and Ryan are the winners, and I'd already interviewed them too. And it's like, and I was like, okay, everybody, let's just give it a second. Let's just give it a second. Maybe it's not going to stick yet. And then, all in all, maybe it was 10 minutes before we figured it out, and it was fine, and we still don't know what it was. Just
you don't know what happened. I will tell you, I was riveted to your feed heading out of LA. Saying, oh no, like what's the penalty? Like I was watching everying. So
right. Well, I just when they fixed it and I just deleted it and was like, people will figure it out. I just deleted my story that said we're figuring it out. So thankfully that would have sucked. That would have really sucked. And so I'm glad it was just whatever it was. Because that would have really sucked.
Look, this weekend, 2 big races, no big controversies. There's nothing really that we have to complain about.
Yeah, thankfully.
Yeah.
I mean, nice. Yeah, I'm glad because that would have been another thing. It's like, oh boy, there's always something.
Yeah. And this time we got nothing.
Right.
I am very proud of Rich. I've known him for years now. And I don't know if I ever told you, but when I found out, like he took me on as my coach, and then I found out he was famous. Like I didn't know. And I told him that I didn't want a famous coach. And the more famous he gets, the less I just tell him I'm just never going to talk to him again. I don't want to be around somebody like that. They just terrify me.
People were coming up to him during the weekend and giving him compliments on that content that I told you I liked so much. So yeah, I think he's doing some really smart stuff because you want to be more than just the guy that finishes fast. If you want to have a long career as a coach and as a content guy, and people were coming on and not just saying, oh, hey, take a selfie with me. They're like, hey man, I'm watching your videos. Thank you so much. This one helped me so much. This thing you did on the lunges was great. So, and I told Rich that as well. I was like, Rich, you're crushing it out there, buddy.
Yeah, he's establishing a legacy that others won't have.
Right. And I think it's a tough thing to do, right? Because again, there's just so much out there. And again, the 75th sign you need that the fitness racing trajectory is bigger than the OCR trajectory. We did not have everyone creating their own content and everyone with their own camera crews coming in to film themselves so that they can do that for their sponsors. I think Rich's guy was there because they need stuff for the feed and everything else. Speaking of which, I will shout out. We'll mention one more thing before we go. This Friday is the Shakeout Run in Atlanta. It's 5 p.m. The Instagram post will have exactly where to meet. You'll be joining me. You'll be joining James Kelly. Hopefully other people that when I find out as they're coming, when they're landing. Rich would join us, but he's not landing till late, I don't think, or maybe not even until Saturday. But the feed is going to give us stuff to give away. So I think if you're like the first 20 or 50 people there, you'll get something from the feed, maybe a shaker bottle or a coupon or both. So yeah, come down to Atlanta, say hello, Shakeout Run. You will go by, we will start at the venue. We will go into Centennial Park where they had the Olympics many years ago. And, don't just be bored in your hotel room. Come out and join us for a quick Shakeout Run after you register, which is usually at 4. Do they open registration at 4?
Sometimes in DC, it was open like all afternoon.
Yeah. Well, even better then. I want to make sure people have time to register. I don't want them to have to like rush.
So it's open for hours.
Okay. It used to be just 4, but yeah, maybe as they get more and more crowded, they open it way earlier. So yeah, come join us. Good times.
I am really sad I'm not going to be there.
I mean, it's going to be a good time. I'm going
to be in the Grand Canyon. I'm not even going to be able to watch.
Why are you going to the Grand Canyon?
I'm hiking the Grand Canyon with some friends. Corinna Perkins is coming.
Nice.
I know.
Is this a like a branded deal or just fun ladies hanging out in the Grand Canyon?
We are just fun ladies looking for an adventure. So it's going to be great.
All right. Well,
great. But yeah, are you working through Atlanta or are you just there as a racer?
What do you mean?
Well, like, are you going to be doing interviews and talking to people? And
yeah, I mean, it's not going to be like I was in Miami, because Miami was like all the big names, the big news. But I'm going to kind of take it easy. Like, I'm not going to kill myself, right? I'm going to enjoy my race with my wife on Sunday. I'm going to go there Saturday and see. I mean, trust me, I was really tempted to pick up another race for Saturday. But I'm just not going to do it, because what if something happens?
2 races in a weekend.
Well, right, because like I could probably suffer through the second one, but like it's my wife's first race, so I'm not going to do that. I don't know how I'm going to feel the second day. So, because I could do another doubles probably and live, and like I could do 2 doubles in 2 days, right, Cheryl?
You could do anything you wanted.
I certainly couldn't do an individual and then do doubles. Then I would be like walking funny. But I could do a double. So anyway, all right, Cheryl, thanks for coming on as always.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Have fun in the Grand Canyon. I'll look for selfies later.
Okay, excellent.
All right, see you later.
Bye.
Dude, I'm totally sweating because now